The media we tend to expose ourselves to also differs by social class. Lower classes tend to read more publications that dramatize the lives, in other words, the romance and lifestyles of the famous publications like National Enquirer. These kinds of readings tend to function as a psychological escape mechanism through which they can momentarily escape their own life and then vicariously experience a higher social class existence. Lower classes watch more TV than higher classes, and also their TV choices differ. Lower classes prefer to watch more soaps, quiz shows, and sitcoms. Higher classes prefer to read more magazines and newspapers, and their choices in TV viewing tend to be current events, news, dramas, and movies. Psychographics refers to the psychological part of lifestyles in particular. So things like values, beliefs, ideals, etc. And it does so within social class to provide even finer distinctions. And this is where things get really interesting again with scales. Rokeach's, VALS, oftentimes just referred to as VALS. The number 2 after that means it is the second edition. Okay. So Rokeach's VALS second edition is the most sophisticated lifestyle marketing scale to date that segments by these psychographics. So remember now, Nielsen's prism from our last lecture is based on geodemographics. Remember that. Differences in taste cultures based on geographic regions of the country. The VALS 2, the most current version of Rokeach's VALS. In contrast, segments by psychographics, things like values, ideals, lifestyles. Originally, it was called VALS and lifestyles, but now it is just called by the acronym VALS. It is based around 8 distinct segments, as pictured here on the slide. Its segmenting relies heavily on 2 different categories. 1, your available resources, such as your income, education, self-confidence, health, eagerness to buy, intelligence, and energy level. And 2, your primary source of motivation, whether that be ideals, achievement, or self-expression, for example. The VALS has identified 8 distinct consumer segments, as shown in this slide again. And again, marketers can use these segments to predict who will be the most likely to purchase their products and services. If your curiosity is piqued with these labels like thinkers, makers, innovators, etc., you can read short descriptions of each on pages 492 and 493 of your text. As an assignment for this class, a really interesting one again, you will be taking the VALS and reporting within which of these 8 segments you fall. So look at your timeline this week for instructions for this assignment. So here's a few tips derived from this lecture material. Tip number 1. If you wish to eat out healthier on a student or otherwise limited budget, of course you will want to avoid buffets and order off menus instead. But recall that U.S. restaurant portions are significantly larger than what is considered healthy. Ask for a to-go container along with your meal, not after. And pack up half of your meal for your freezer before you begin eating. Tip number 2, if you tend to ever be surprised by your monthly credit card bill, go to your local bank and request a free check register. Then keep it with your credit card and record and tally all purchases as you make them. Tip number 3. I think I said in the last tips in the last lecture that there was one. If you didn't do any other one in this class, do this one, okay? This is one that I also really urge you to seriously consider. It's about the value of starting a retirement account young. Okay, here you go. Jane is 25 years old, and her favorite aunt dies and leaves her $1,000. She puts it in a retirement account where it makes 10% yearly over the next 40 years until she retires. What is her ending balance at retirement? Now, this is what I want you to do. Okay, I want you to pause the video, okay, and figure this out. Get out your calculator and figure this out. So again, $1,000, she puts it in a retirement account where it makes 10% yearly over the next 40 years. So what is the ending balance at the time of her retirement? Okay, so if your answer was 5,000, you do not understand the extreme advantages of beginning a retirement account at a very young age. If you're interested in learning a easy, I want to stress the word easy way to assure that you will be better off than most of your peers in your social class when you retire, try researching the term compound interest on Google and then recalculate your answer. By the way, the answer is this. Because of compounding interest, instead of growing to 5,000, Jane's 1,000 would have grown to over $45,000. So that's an additional $44,000. And what did she do for it? Nothing. That's the easy trick here, is just do not touch it. Leave it in there for that length of time. Now, the length of time is very important because if you calculate this and you stop halfway through, you're going to find out that it is significantly less than half. The longer it's in, the more compounding interest is going to work for you. Okay, so this concludes part 2 of our consumer identity lecture. And here is a fun, very applicable guerrilla marketing example.